Okay, good morning. So today in Principle of Management, we are going to learn about decision making. So it's one of the part of management, how we are deciding. What are the steps, what are the processes that is required for taking up an appropriate decision for favor of your organization or institution. Okay. So, when we are talking about decision making, in a day to day life, we are making decisions, taking, like small decisions and big decisions, right? uh, every day we are making big decisions like the financial decisions, what has to be done, the process, every day we make those decisions. Similar activities has to be considered when we are working within a formal institution, and how we are going to, and what are the criterias that we are going to take up, alternatives that we are going to take up, will and will be part of our decision, is a important thing that we must know about and learn about. Okay, so the lesson outcome of this plan will be, we will learn that decision making is made of three types of environment, that is certain conditions, uncertain conditions, and risky conditions. Then we have decision making in situations, is determined by adequacy, information obtained in the process of decision making. Also discuss where the process of rational discussion making has to be encompassed with the following steps. That is, first we need to define the problem, secondly we need to identify the decisions, then criterias of making decisions, thirdly we have to allocate weightage of each criteria that we are considering. Then fourthly we have to generating alternative solutions, then evaluating each of these alternatives that we are offered or we have to take up decisions with. And the sixth we have is selecting an optimal alternatives is a major part in decision making process. Okay, so let's talk about decision making is also one of the functions being in management. The success of management depends upon the quality of decision. Okay, so a success of a management will always be determined by the success of a or the quality of decision you have taken. If you take if you have just haphazardly or without thinking, without considering alternatives and various criterias, you've just taken up just a, you do it in case of, if you do not know any answer of your answer sheet, question sheets, what do? You just say inky pinky ponky, and you select the one which comes up with the number, right? So it's not that. You have to have some basis of coming to a conclusion or taking up decision. So good quality decisions will lead to success of management. So if the manager fails to take correct decision, he may not exact or any work from his you cannot expect any subordinate working in coordination with him, or may not even find way to finish off his work, or he may not even know where to go, and where can he finish off with his work if he's not making good decisions. So some decisions are taken emotionally, and some are based on logical and based on fact findings basically. So it should be taken with great care. Emotional decision usually leads to confusions, like whether you should go for it or you should not go for it. What are the pros and cons? It will lead up to a lot of confusion in the process. So decision making on a work, is a work of a superiors to make up to take up all the criterias and alternatives for considerations. Okay, now let's try to define it. So decision making is a process involving information, choice of alternatives, actions, implementation, and evaluation that is directed to achievement of certain stated goals. Managerial decisions, like decision making, the process by which manager responds to opportunities and the threats by analyzing the options and making decisions about goal and courses of the action, also is part of decision making. Now, decision is response to an opportunity. What is a decision? Decision is a response to an opportunity. Firstly, decision making is a process by which manager responds to an opportunity and treats it is treated by analyzing various options that is given to obtain a particular goal. Similarly, decision is also a response to opportunity that manager responds to way to improve the organizational performance. To improve the performance, also decision making is a part uh, of organization management or success. So decision is response to threat. It occurs when the managers are impacted by adverse event, to the organization. So when managers are affected by the adverse event to the organization, then also, or they are forced or threatened to respond immediately. So all being part of functions of the management, decision making has certain characteristics. So this characteristic is basically decision making is a selection process, and the best process of selecting is the alternative is basically taking up the best alternatives. So if there is only one alternative, that is no decision making can be taken now. So you have, when you do not have options to take, your decisions of making process is not started. When you have many alternatives, when you have options to take from, then you will choose what, when then you will choose the best alternative or the best way to assert or to select a alternative that suits your requirements, right? So decision making is the end process. Decision making is presented by detailed discussions and selections of alternatives. Then decision making is application of intellectual ability to greater extent. So an intelligent man alone can take a good decision, and whereas decision gives happiness to endeavors who takes various steps to collect the information which is likely to affect the decisions. So it helps those people who takes various steps and action to collect information, whether regarding that particular problem, to take up a decision that can affect it. So what are the factors that is relating to it? Collecting those information will help eventually making a good decision, and it will bring a better endeavors. Now, decision making is situational and individual, as an individual takes decision according to the situation prevailing, right? So it is a dynamic process. It is taken to achieve the objective of an organization. Now, decision making involves the evaluation of available alternatives through critical appraisal methods. A decision may be both negative or positive. So, a decision can be both negative as well as positive. A decision may direct others to do or not to do a certain activity or certain things. All right. uh, Decision makers has evaluation of decision, which involves the using of resources in a specific way. Okay, then what are the elements of decision making? Let's see what are the elements. A problem is full of analysis, and available alternatives are considered before taking a decision. The best decision making requires intelligence, experience, and insight into the problem. So, what it requires? It requires intelligence. experience and insight into the problem. So you should have a proper sight to see what is the problem, how it is originating, why it is coming, why you are facing this problem. So it is one of the elements of decision making. The problem, so whenever decision only comes when you are facing a problem. So when you analyze the problem, which is and what are the various available alternatives which is there, and why, what are the pros and cons, or what you can consider before taking a decision, are one of the another type of elements that is to be considered while making decisions. So a decision is taken according to the environment of a business. So what type of business you are having, what environment you are, what type of struggle you have, what type of origin of problems you have, that is one of the part of decision making. The centralization and decentralization of authority affects the decision directly or indirectly, right? How, like centralized way of taking decisions, and the onus of making right decision and wrong decisions is is given to only one person or one committee, right? One chair. So it will be concentrated in few powers, whereas decentralized authority will give power and their work jurisdiction and their area of working, and it might turn out to be efficient, and it might turn out to be less time consuming. Whereas a centralized decision making will be time consuming, because one person has to collect all the data's information regarding the problem, and then collectively arranging in various criterias, looking for alternatives, only one person has to take up. Whereas a decentralization of authority will lead to when you have delegated your powers, when you have delegated with the work, that what you're supposed to, that is, you give certain work, that you collect this information, you collect that information, you collect this information, and then you delegate another person to collect all the information together and analyze it and report it to you. So it means that you have delegated various factors, various variables of affecting which will affect your decision, to be collected by different stakeholders. And then once it is collected and given to one authority, that authority analyze it and gives a report to the higher authority, it is a less time consuming, less laborious for a person. Similarly, it is labor intensive, because it requires more resources, human resources, to be involved in for acquiring information and making it prioritizing and looking for alternatives, right? So it may be labor intensive, decentralization may be labor intensive, but it is a less time consuming as compared to centralized authorities of taking decisions. Then you have psychology of individual is also involved in making decision. So what type of psyche you have, what type of thought process you are having, that also affects your decision making. Like, I'll give you an example from your day to day life. Like, suppose you want to go for buying a mobile phone, right? Somebody will say, Kilo, I want a mobile phone with a good sound system, good music sound system, right? So he will look for the companies or mobile which has loud sound and good sound effect and everything. The other person might take that, no, I don't want music much, I don't listen to music much, I do not require loud sounds, I require a good camera in the mobile. So the person will go into the market and look for the options which has good quality of cameras within that budget. So somebody also may make decision based on budgets. What is your budget of buying a mobile? So it is based on psychology. And suppose somebody says, "Ki, we should not spend much in the mobile phones." The other person says, no, we should spend good amount of appropriate amount of money into the mobile phones, because it is a basic amenity in today's time. So see the difference of psychology in an individual while taking a decision of just buying a mobile phone. That is making a lot of change or direction of taking decisions, right? So decisions are taken when they are needed. So it is only when you are needed to do, when you are coming up with a problem or a hurdle, then only certain decisions are taken up, and based on the alternatives and criterias and the factors that you require to take up. Now employees are also involved in decision making process, that is again part of decentralizing of your powers to take up decisions. Okay. The political and social environment of a business affect the decision making of a management, that takes a decision after consulting the employees. The following advantage may occur, advantages may occur. That means a better relation with the employees will develop, loyalty to the management will develop, and there is no hindrance in the implementation of the decisions. When you involve your employees, suppose you are in a higher authority of making decisions, if you involve your employees, if you take their suggestions, if you take their consideration, take them their views in consideration, what will build the things which will build among the employee and the management is that you will have a better relationship with the management, a loyalty to the management will increase, there will be no hurdle that will be faced by the management to implement the decision they have taken up. Then efficiency of the employees will also increase because it is in consent with the employees. So it will also the employees will also efficiently work in accordance to the decision that has been taken up by the management. Okay. So you have to take in consideration to various factors now. Now, this is again a flow chart of decision making process where identification of the problem, it starts by identification that problems exist. So it starts with identification of problems, diagnosing the problems, collect and analyze the relevant information, discover the alternative course of action, then analyze the alternatives, screen of the alternatives, selection of the best alternatives, conservation of into actions, implementation of varying the decisions. What are the varying decisions are the end of the process. So it's starting with identification of the problem. Now we are coming to types of decision making. A programmed decision, routine, that is routine, almost automatic process. So it is a programmed decision, which is an routine process. Like every day, you are given a routine. That means you are given a timetable, that this is the time that your classes are going to start, and each hour your classes will change. So there is a routine process, this is a programmed process, and this decision is being taken up by the management like us. So we decide ki, okay, these lectures will happen before the lunch, and these are the lectures which will happen after lunch, and in the week we will have one week Wednesday activity, in on Saturdays we will have community forum. In between we will also ask you to participate in sports and other co-curricular activities that is there with the university. So that is a program decision that has been given a slot. So there will be also a slot for library lectures. So these slots are a routine slots which is going on a cyclic process. It is a cyclic process. It is an automatic cyclic process. So when you wake up in Monday morning, the first lecture is of that subject, the second lecture is of another subject, the third lecture, the fourth lecture, then there is a lunch, then you have fifth lecture, sixth lecture, and seventh lecture, and so on, right? So it is a programmed routine. So so what does it help, this automatic process? Managers have made decision many times before, and there are rules or guidelines to follow up. So there is a rules and guidelines. So there is a guidelines and rules given to you that you need to have 75% of attendance as per the guidelines, that is by UGC, right? So so every day you will make it sure, until unless you are not having any serious issues and problems facing, you will make it sure that you maintain your attendance, so that you can understand the subject well and give your examination well. Okay, so these rules and guidelines are there for assisting and giving a proper direction to the employees, to the managers, to work for a common goal, attaining a common goal objectives. Now, non-program decisions are unusual situations that have not been often addressed. No rules or to follow, since the decision is new. These decisions are made based on information and a manager's institution and adjustment. So, for example, there should be a firm investing in a new technology. What will happen? It will take up a decision based on various criteria. So managerial theory of decision making is, there are again principle of decision making where you have managerial theory of decision making. It is based on principle of diminishing the returns. All right, applied for sales, advertisements, promotions and trainings. Then you have mathematical theory, that is it ventures analysis, then adventures analysis, game theory, probability theory, and weighting theory are some of the example of mathematical theories of principle of decision making. Now it gives a scientific, mathematical theory also gives a scientific approach to the managers. Okay, then we have psychological theory. In this decision making taken on the basis of aspiration, technology, skills, personality, social status, then organization status. This will all contribute to your psychological theory of taking decisions. Okay, so when we come back again, managerial theory of decision, it is based on principle of diminishing the returns. That is, you will apply it for the sales, different decisions, and advertisement and promotions and training will be different. Similarly, when mathematical theory is there, it will venture analysis based on probability, or what could happen, which can be put it into numbers, and which can be understood. Like, suppose supposing it has to be said that how many people or how many volunteers of employees are willing to let the working hours reduce. So now it can, how you will measure this decision? You will have to have conducted a survey. You will have a report like how many people wants to reduce the working hours. So the number of people responding on it will give a quantity ki how many people are for the reduction of hours. And supposingly, then it comes up with a conflict. Decision making in also comes with a conflict. So when you come across this is a positive, there is no conflict here because it has been given a positive reinforcement that um, to reduce the working hours. But the conflict comes now is, the working hours will be reduced and so is your salary. So then you see how many people are responding to it, right? So suppose your working hours is reduced to 1 hour and your salary is reduced to almost 20%. So it is almost as much, you are losing out, more than what you are supposed to cater for. So your entire budget for the month, when you lose out so much money in your salary, will be haywire. So then the managers see how many people are responding for the motion of reducing the working hours as well as the salary. So based on that, it is measured ki, okay, these many people are willing to sacrifice for hours and money, to have a better quality or better life at home, maybe, or to do something else, right? So this is mathematical theory where you are able to quantify and measure the decisions. Psychological theory is like decisions taken on the basis of aspiration. What do you aspire for? What is your technological skills? What is your personality type? what is your social status, what is your organization status. Like for say, my aspiration is to, work with nature, work with, to help others. So that will be my aspiration. So even if I'm teaching, I will incline my resources, my ideas more towards the humanitarian work. Similarly, if technology skills, suppose technology skills, I am very good at utilizing certain technology, but not very good at social media. So I will not be able to exhibit my skill sets. So that is a technological skills, uh, as a setback as well as a perks to a person. Similarly, personality traits, some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. Some people are in middle of, sometimes they become introvert, sometimes they become extrovert. So this is a personality trait. An introvert person will conserve oneself and will work for time to time, and only be dealing with it only with its own work. Whereas an extrovert will be more jovial, and meeting up with other people, making friends at the organization, and working in a very happy conditions. So that will be another personality type. Then social status also plays an important role in psychological thought pattern, thought process of while making decisions. Organization status is like how well your organization doing, how are this, whether the organization is struggling or not. If it is struggling, then you become more insecure that whether your organization might kick you out anytime. So beforehand, your organization, when it is tumbling, you start looking for a new job or a better job, so before that organization stops, right? So before that thing happens, you start looking for a job. That is an organization status, that it might fall anytime, right? Or maybe the working condition is so toxic that you do not want to work, so you're looking for an alternatives. So that is also a psychological status of making decisions. Then you have principles of limiting factors, that is fundamentals of problems that are studied, and an influence or conclusions is drawn upon it. So principle of limited factors are like fundamentals of problems. What are the basic fundamental problem, where is it originating, what is why is it coming. That is the understanding the fundamental problems, studying it very well. And then coming to interference, what are the barriers and interferences are associated with it, and coming to a conclusion drawn based on those studies that you have done. Then you have principles of participation. So principle is based on human behavior and human relationship. So subordinate should be consulted. So it is the principle of participation. Here you are talking about participation of the employees or your subordinates. It again, I have we have talked about the how it is beneficial when you are involving the participants of or employees for the in the organization, and how it will benefit, and it will also benefit in while implementing the decision in the organization. So a principle of participation is based upon human behavior and human relationship. So you're behaving as if you are you're taking a what do you call it, decision in coherence with or in consent with your employees, and you're building up relation in that matter, and also building up loyalty for your organization or your for the management, and having a willing employees to work in accordance to the decision you have taken. Then you have principles of alert, alternatives. All alternatives are evaluated and screened, and best alternatives is taken for decision. So once the alternatives are evaluated, well evaluated, and taken in consideration, you take up a proper decision based on it. right? Just like I have given you, suppose you need to buy a computer for your organization, right? You suddenly come across that you are short in memory storage in your computer lab. So what do you require? You are looking for new computer, and then you have a various criterias based to buy new computer. You need a high end computer. You need what is the memory requirement you have, what is the speed of the processor you require, what is the amount that you are willing to spend to buy a computer. That is all the criterias based to let you have a new computer for your storage, right? So it's an example that I have given you. Now, the characteristics of good decision or effective decisions are: decisions is taken after passing various stages. The basic objective of passing through all the stages is to solve the problem. Okay, it is basically to solve the problems, or of the depending on how effective the decision has been made and implemented. Uh, action oriented or goal directed, or efficiency in implementing the decision. So if it is an action oriented where you want your employees to work more, so it will be more of what you have done, what your achievement is, what is the landmark you have achieved. That is an action oriented. Goal oriented is like, where do you want to see yourself in 5 years, or what is your performance going to be in next semester, or what is your achievement will be by in next year. So this is a goal oriented, where you have stopped a goal and to have a achieve that goal. Now, efficiency in implementation, like how much hurdles you might face. Okay, what are the problems that may come during implementing the decisions. That is another or what are the problems it will create while you implement this decision, will be also one of the characteristics of a good decisions and effective decisions. Okay. So administrative problems in decision making is like accuracy, environment of decision, timely decisions, then communication of decision, participative decision making, implementation, and so on. Now, programmed decisions are like we have talked about. It is cyclic. You have set of programs that is set in a tabular manner, in a time in a time periodic manner, and it is in a what do you call it, proceedings that you keep on doing, like you are daily attending your classes. Now, non programmed decisions are which comes up suddenly, where it is uncertain situation, you have to take a decision. Then you have major decision, minor decision, operative decisions, and organizational decisions. Decision based on personal inclination and personal requirements, individual, like if you want to take up leave, it could be due to your personal requirement of taking leave, right? That's a personal decision. Individual decision, like individually you want to take up certain project or certain onus for the organization. That is an individual decision. Group decision is where you involve all your team members to decide for, like if you are planning to give a birthday party to your boss. So you will ask all your colleagues that we are giving a party, this is the place that we are giving party, this is the amount that we need to contribute, how many are ready to contribute amount, and what is the collection that has to happen, that this is the level of collection you require for giving a party in this place. If it is not, where do you want to go? So it's a collective decision that has to happen in your among your colleagues. That is a group decisions. Then you have departmental decisions. A departmental head will take a decision, okay, how your department will work, what are the timings, what is the objective of the department, what is the goal of the department, who will take up which work, responsibility. That is a departmental decisions. Similarly, non-economic decisions are when you do not deal with any of the finances or any of the financial assistance, that is a non-economic decisions. Then crisis decision, when you take up decisions under crisis and under certain uncertain times, that is a crisis decisions. When you have to mitigate certain losses or sometimes a crisis situation, that is on crisis decisions. Now, research decisions are when you are trying to take up a research point and you want to decide for mm, what you want to study, what you want to investigate, that is a research decision. Now, there are personal phases of decisions. What are the personal phases of decisions? There are some different decision making. These are due to personal characteristics, due to intelligence. Okay, every person will have a different IQ, that is intelligence, education, experiences, courage, motivation, forecasting ability, and self confidence. Some people may lack self confidence, some people may have are beaming with self confidence. They are those people, I would say those people who are beaming with self confidence are more like narcissist. So self confident people will have a more ability to motivate and convince other peoples. Then you need to have how well you can forecast the next upcoming or forthcoming event, or the problems that you might have face. So that is a forecasting ability. Then how well motivated you are to achieve that particular goal is also a personal level of achievement of a decision. So the person who is more motivated will have a more aspiration and will work more towards achieving the goal, will work harder and try to look for a better alternatives while making a decisions. Courage also, like somebody who has a is courageous in times of crisis, in times of sudden decisions, will have to have a courage to make up its own power to take up decisions. Okay, let's take a risk of taking this decision if in case your boss is not there on your head. So you have certain courages to take up a certain decision on behalf of your senior, right? So then you have experiences. The further the more you have experience, the more you have practice, the better is your response in dealing with the crisis, right? So experience matters. All right, so that's why when more experience you have, the better you are responding towards the crisis. Education, if suppose you are educated in surgery and I am asking you to do a managerial work or a desk job, the person might fail. Or if I ask a bureaucrat to go and do a surgery, it will be a total devastation, because the person has no understanding or no knowledge of working for as a surgeon, right? So education, what you are educated, where what skills you have, what knowledge sets you have, that is part of your education. And intelligence is, every person have a different level of understanding. So like all five fingers are not same. Similarly, all managers are not same. Some people have more understanding, forecasting ability, and intelligence. Some people have intelligence, but the forecasting ability is not as high as it should be, as expected. Okay. Now, models, there are models of decision making. That is, first one is classical model. Classical model of decision making is a perspective model that tells us how decisions should be made. That assumes managers have access to all the information needs to reach the decisions. Managers can then make optimum decision by easily ranking their own preference among the alternatives. Unfortunately, managers often do not have all required information. So the classical model starts with list of alternatives and consequences, rank each alternatives from low to high. Then you select the best alternatives. The listing of the alternatives and consequences is what you call is basically assumed as all information is available for managers. Now down rank alternatives is assumed the manager can process the information. Then selection of the alternatives is assumed that the manager is knows the best future for the course of the organization. Okay. Then you have administrative model. Administrative model of decision making challenges the classical assumption that managers have and proceed all information. As a result, decision making is a risky way. So bounded rationality and incomplete information, they are limitations of uh, uh, taking administrative models of decision making. So a large number of alternatives and information is a vast, so that managers cannot consider it all, and so people cannot decisions are limited to people who are cognitively ability. Then incomplete information, managers do not see all alternatives and see the baseline and income based on incomplete information. So incomplete information will lead to uncertainty and risky decisions. Ambiguous information will also lead to incomplete information and uncertain decisions. So recognize the decision making steps are, first you recognize the need of decision, whether you need taking any decisions to action, any action to taken up or not. Frame the problems, generate and assess the alternatives, choose among alternatives, implement the chosen alternatives, and lead from the feedback. So then we have recognize the need of decision is basically manager realizes why decision has to be taken up. Then you have to frame the problem where managers need to understand the problem while taking a decision. Generate alternatives. What are the best alternatives available? You rank it in the least to highest available alternatives. Then choose among the alternatives which is the best alternative that suits your requirements. Then implementation of the chosen alternatives, and learn from the feedback. So you will also take a feedback whether the decisions that you have taken is right or wrong. Okay. So with this we finish off our decision making chapter, and I want you all to go to your LMS and take up either quiz. All the best.